Am I the a-hole for telling my mom that I didn't want to know her after she walked out 14 years ago? The title pretty much tells the outline of the story. I'm a 16-year-old female, and I am living with my dad who has 100% sole custody of me. He has had custody since I was 2. My parents had me when they were quite young. My dad was 18 and mom was 20, and mom couldn't cope with how my existence inconvenienced her education and social life. She wanted to enjoy university, and my existence got in the way of all of that. Therefore, she upped sticks and left my dad to raise me by himself. And my dad is the complete opposite, and has more worth in one of his pinky fingers than her entire existence. He has been both the mother and the father in my life. He has showered me with the love and affection that I needed. He has been strict with me when needed, and has guided me to be the person that I am today. And he has never missed a day or an opportunity to let me know how much he loves me. He is my hero, and I doubt that I will ever love anyone else as much as I do my dad. I am unashamed to admit that I am a daddy's girl. Our life has been very stable, and he has done an amazing job of raising me throughout my childhood and into my teenage years. But now the egg donor, I won't apologize for calling her that because just the thought of calling her mom turns my stomach, is trying to rock the boat. She's contacted me asking if we could meet up because she wants to reconnect with me. She gave a sob story about how she spent years regretting her decision not to be in my life, and how she's now at a point in her life, mentally and financially, where she wants to give me what I am owed from her. She also has 2 other children, 7 and 5, and she is hopeful that I can develop a relationship with my siblings. This is where I feel that I might have been an a-hole. Because in an outburst of sudden anger at suddenly being contacted, I told her to F off, and that nothing she says could convince me to have anything to do with someone who I only consider to be an egg donor and incubator in my life. I thought that I had given up my anger and resentment toward her a long time ago, but it felt like the dam broke as I let out all of that anger and resentment that had built up all those years ago, as I unleashed all of my pent-up feelings toward her. Because the anger that I felt wasn't only for myself and how she abandoned me, I also felt anger for the hurt, pain, and struggles that she caused for my dad. And here she is, trying to reopen those old wounds that both myself and my dad have suffered at her selfish hands. I told her all of that and how I consider myself to be the child of one parent, as the other one has been dead for most of my life. I'm not ashamed to admit that I took some joy in telling her how much of an amazing father and man my dad is, and that both myself and my dad had a lucky escape getting away from someone as narcissistic and toxic as she is. And the only point where I remained somewhat civil was when I told her that I don't want anything to do with her children. Because despite my anger and resentment toward her, those children are blameless and innocent. And if she tries to use them as an emotional weapon against me, or selfishly drags them into all of this, then that would only make me angrier than I already am. I blocked her from all of my socials, though I know that this won't be over anytime soon, and my dad is preparing to lawyer up if she does try to drag this to the courts. But for now, I am going to try and refocus on my GCSE exams and look forward to the upcoming trip away with my dad to celebrate the end of my exams. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She's waited 14 years to contact you, while she's had other kids for what, 7 years? Nah, she could have reached out at any point. The fact that she waited until you're old enough to babysit is suspicious as heck. You owe her nothing. She tried reaching out last year by contacting my dad. He spoke to me at the time about it, asked what I wanted to do, and he respected my decision of not wanting anything to do with her. He gave my response to her, but she's now bypassed him and contacted me directly. Not the a-hole. Your egg donor definitely wants a free babysitter. That was my first thought, but the threat of a lump sum payment of all the back child support she owes should scare her off. It might sound silly, but I wouldn't want the back payment on the child support that she owes. I know that it'll probably sound like mental gymnastics, but I feel that accepting her money would give her a reason to believe that she would now have a say in my life. I've got similar feelings about my absent parent. We're older and, realistically, he'll die sooner rather than later. Supposedly, I'm his heir and will inherit everything when he dies, despite the fact that I haven't spoken to or seen him in legit 40 years. Should I accept it, it's probably not a life-changing amount for what it's worth, and thus make it look like the money makes up for the incredible damage he did? Like all is forgiven and fine now? Or do I outright refuse it? Maybe give it to my favorite charities? Frankly, I still bounce back and forth every few months when it comes up. Right at this moment, I lean towards accepting the money and using it to install a toilet on his grave so I can show my appreciation. Anyway, no point to this story other than crap is complicated, and I'm sorry you're going through it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to raise ex-husband's child? I am not American, and these are not real names for privacy. I am Tori, 35, female, and have a 10-year-old son, Neo, with Jeff, 35, male. We divorced 5 years ago when he had an affair with Rebecca. They have a 4-year-old son, Omar, and Rebecca left them for her home country 2 years ago. She left the kid for good and hasn't contacted them since. My ex, who was always rude before that, has changed his tune since. During custody exchanges, he brings Omar and sometimes asks me to take him, which I have always refused. My son and his half-brother are close and have developed a bond like real brothers, which is fine with me. I don't plan to have any more kids, so it's good he has a sibling from his father's side. But I've also made it clear to my son, through therapy, that I don't want to associate with my ex's family. Last time, he brought Omar fully ready with a bag, and when I said no, the kid said, "Mommy, take me too." I wasn't happy with this and had a huge verbal clash with my ex. I told him to stop brainwashing the poor kid, as I will never be his mother. My ex doubled down and told me that I'm a wonderful mother to Neo and could open my heart. The truth is, I can't. Omar reminds me of their affair. I know he is innocent, but I don't want him at my home. My son knows my boundary. Now my ex-in-laws are asking me to show some compassion and love for the kid, who is faultless, but I don't want to be associated as any motherly figure in his life. They are calling me heartless for not taking the kid with me to my home and other places where I take Neo. They say he is without a mother, but I really don't want to associate with my ex outside of our son. I told them that if I had an affair and a kid with some random man, would they accept the kid? That shut them up. Still, they message me though, calling me names. Not the a-hole. I would call whatever child protective services you have in your country and inform them that this man is attempting to abandon his child and brainwashing the child into believing that you are his mom when you are not. Tell your ex-in-laws that if they want to continue to have a relationship with their grandson, they will shut up about this matter permanently. The next negative word against you and they are cut off from access. They don't care about such small incidents in their book. They only care if kids are unfed, being beaten, or abused. He doesn't leave the kid alone with me to call them off. I really don't want to stop my son's access to his grandparents, as they love him and vice versa. And even if I do, his father's house is next to them and during his week, they will have access to him. Not the a-hole. You don't have to raise someone else's kid. Block your ex-in-laws and move on. My son loves his grandparents, and that's why I was cordial with them. But they are expecting too much, and I can't fulfill that. Stand your ground. Your ex has some damn nerve trying to push his kid off on you. Why can't his family take him? Don't allow them to guilt or manipulate you. Your ex's issues with his son are not your responsibility. As long as your son knows your boundaries, that's all that matters. And then to allow his son to call you mom? What? Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting a relationship with my mom's family after they cut her out and chose my dad's side in the divorce? I, 24 male, have a complicated family situation stemming from my parents' divorce when I was 10. The background: 3 years before the divorce, my parents adopted my brother, now 22, from Russia. After bringing him home, he began to exhibit severe behavioral issues, attacking me, stealing, breaking things, screaming, and lying. He ended up getting diagnosed with several conditions, including fetal alcohol syndrome and reactive attachment disorder. The main issue was that these behaviors were only ever witnessed by my mom and me. My dad worked nights and slept during the day, so he wasn't around much. My brother was incredibly manipulative and, of course, acted like an angel whenever my dad or others were around. Meanwhile, back home, things had gotten so bad that my mom and I had to lock our doors at night because we feared he might attack us in our sleep, which my dad dismissed as an overreaction. When my mom tried talking to her family about these issues and how they were affecting things at home, they accused her of exaggerating and making things up to make my dad look bad. Even when I tried backing up my mom's stories, I was dismissed as not understanding because I was just a kid. After the divorce, my mom's family completely cut her out while continuing to include my dad in all family events. My mom won full custody of me, and my dad got my brother. I had little to no contact with my dad and zero contact with that side of the family for 5 years. It didn't take long after the divorce for my dad and everyone else to see the reality of who my brother was. However, the damage had already been done. My dad did eventually apologize years down the road to my mom and me. When I started seeing my dad again in high school, I was reintroduced to my mom's family, but these interactions were always uncomfortable, especially being there with my dad. Her family to this day have never once brought the situation up or apologized. I don't know if that's because of shame or if they think it just never happened as long as no one talks about it. My grandparents did slightly reconnect with my mom after her breast cancer diagnosis back in 2021, but her siblings have still never reached out. Just last week, my mom's uncle, my grandma's brother, passed away, and when she reached out about funeral details, they completely ignored her. However, my dad and his new wife continued to be fully included. My grandparents even attended their wedding 2 years ago. Recently, my dad has been pressuring me more and more to have a closer relationship with my mom's family, giving lectures about the importance of family and guilt-tripping me for not prioritizing them. I feel like I'd be betraying my mom by having a relationship with them while they continue to keep her in the dark but fully embrace my dad and his new wife. Am I the a-hole for staying distant from them? Edit. Added more context to what happened to my brother after the divorce. There is a lot that can be said about this situation and about my brother, but I wanted to make sure I got to the point of this post. If anything is still confusing, feel free to comment and I'll do my best to provide clarity. Info. So what happened to your brother? Did he go with dad? Still with dad? I know not what you are asking, but this seems a big hole. Like, why did her family side with him? The brother is too significant of a plot point to just not be mentioned again. Sorry, I guess I could have made it clearer, but essentially they sided with my dad and brother because they never saw my brother act out. He was always a sweet little angel in their eyes. So when my mom came to them with what was really happening at home, they couldn't believe it. There is a lot to this story, but I tried to keep it concise so it wouldn't be too long. So if you have more questions, I can certainly help answer them. Why not start by answering the question asked, what happened to the brother? He went and lived with my dad. My mom wanted nothing to do with him after they divorced. It didn't take long that my brother's behaviors came to light, but at that point, the damage was done. Years down the road, my dad did eventually apologize to both my mom and I for not believing us. However, her family is either too stubborn or too ashamed to say anything about it. My brother continued to live with my dad, even past turning 18, as my dad claimed guardianship over him. This could be a whole another post. But my brother now lives on his own, granted with a couple of caseworkers that are checking in on him frequently. Not the a-hole. Russian adoptions going bad is a very common thing. Shame on your mom's family for not supporting her. I'm glad she got you out safely. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter-in-law she is not a mother? I'm 64 female, have 3 kids, and they are all married. This post is about my son and his wife Jenny. Jenny struggles with infertility and has no children. My other son, his wife is expecting next month, and my daughter recently had her own child, a grandson. Everyone was busy for Mother's Day and couldn't meet up with me for the holiday. That's fine, they are starting their own families. I thought it would be nice to send my expecting daughter-in-law and son and my daughter a Mother's Day basket. Jenny always made comments that her 2 dogs are the first grandkids. I always thought it was a joke. She is big on being a dog mom. My daughter posted a picture in the group chat of everything she got for Mother's Day and included a basket. My other daughter-in-law also thanked me for her basket in the chat. Jenny called me soon after and asked where her basket was. I was confused and asked what she meant. I thought she was pregnant and was just telling me now. She clarified that since I have 2 grandkids by her already and said her dogs' names, she should have received one too. I was even more confused, and she clarified that she is her dog's mother and should have gotten a basket. I told her she is not a mother. Mother's Day is for women who raise human children, not pet owners. She got really upset and cursed me out for not getting her a basket and said that she's a parent. My son is telling me to apologize and to send a Mother's Day basket over. He is calling me a jerk for not sending her a basket and for telling her she is a pet owner. So did your son give his wife a nice Mother's Day gift? I didn't ask. I don't know. That didn't even cross my mind. There were no pictures sent in a group chat from them and nothing was mentioned on the call. Not the a-hole. I understand that her infertility might be hard for her and she loves her dogs. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't make her a mother. While people may love their pets, I love my dog. The reality is, they aren't children. Yeah, I tried to say that as nice as possible. It didn't go well. On the bright side, you probably won't have to tactfully excuse yourself from the dog's birthday party this year. Or make excuses for not attending parties of any children resulting from fertility treatments, because Granny won't be invited. Sometimes one wins a battle but loses the war. Not sending the basket wasn't the issue. Saying her daughter-in-law is not a mother because she's not raising humans might have been the harsh line crossed for someone dealing with infertility. As a 40-year-old with no children, by choice, and 3 cats, I would never expect someone to acknowledge me on Mother's Day. I kind of would be a little weirded out if they did. I consider my cats my babies, but that's a personal thing that I would never expect anyone else to acknowledge or honor. My only thought is, maybe the infertility thing is really affecting her emotionally, and it's manifesting itself in this odd way. It would be the infertility. I have children now, but I struggled with infertility. Things like seeing pregnant people and Mother's Day were really difficult at that time. Being in a couple of kid support groups, I've seen it manifest in ways you wouldn't expect, like people treating reborn dolls like real children.